Welcome back to the final hour of the Artie Lange Show. Great show. It's flying by, and it's only going to get better right now. One of my favorite guests, one of my favorite baseball players of all time. One of the few people who could say he pitched a perfect game for the New York Yankees at the old great Yankee Stadium. The great David Wells. What's up, Dave?
Just chilling, my man. Just chilling.
You always are. I love that about you. God bless. You figured out life.
Well, you do when you retire. You try to figure out what you're going to do. So, best thing to do is chill since you played,
right?
For so many years and you've been so active. But I'm still active, but I'm chilling now. I had a game today because I coach my high school team, so we had a game and
cool.
Lost our first game, but it's all preseason stuff. So
yeah. You worked hard, and now you're enjoying it. If you don't mind, which one of your 18 houses are you at?
Pardon me?
Which one of your 18 houses are you at now?
18. No, I'm back in God's country, San Diego.
Yeah, it's beautiful there. That's gorgeous. All right, well, let's get right to it. The Yankees, Tanaka. What are your thoughts? A lot of money, worth it? What are you thinking?
Well, I just heard about it today. I've been out of the loop for a little bit, but one of my kids on the team told me, and what was it, 140 something million?
155 mil for 7 years.
Are you kidding me?
There you go.
I mean, you know what? They're scouting. They're whoever behind the scenes,
right?
They've seen this guy, and they better hope and pray that this is legit. I mean, to spend that kind of money for and I put my foot in my mouth, but you know what? I was there to eat all the words about, when you sign somebody unknowing, like when Hideki Irabu, when the Yankees signed him,
right?
All these guys, he took somebody's job for a Japanese player, and this is when they first started coming over here. It's like, unproven. They're taking somebody's job. And, I was kind of offended by that because of the fact that, I know how hard we work. I don't know anything about Japan, and what they do. But here's a guy taking some dude's job and
right.
Paid a lot of money for it. And I was like, wow. And I remember Bobby Valentine coming down on me, through the media and all that kind of stuff. So it was like, but, I ate my words because he ended up being a hell of a pitcher, a great guy, God rest his soul. But you know what? It just makes you think. So they are competitive, and this guy can pitch. I've seen some footage of him, and it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, what do you yeah, John?
David, what's the major differences? What are the major differences between the professional baseball in Japan and here? I've heard that they throw a lot more pitches over there, but could you kind of...
It's a good question. That's where the scouts really earning their money. Like, what's the difference? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we throw a lot of pitches here now, but, he might get Americanized too quick with this 100-pitch limit.
Exactly.
So he might go 5 and die, and, and he's ready to go 9, and he's going to, but, for $155 million, you take me out whenever the hell you want.
Yeah.
That's basically what I look at it. But, this guy's programmed. And from what I understand, I've never played there, but just talking with other people who have, I mean, their spring trainings are pretty extensive and pretty gnarly. Compared to what we do. I mean, they're very strict and, and they do a lot of conditioning and they just do a lot of stuff because, I mean, they're, that's their livelihood over there. But, their tradition is their tradition. Ours is ours. Where, Americans are a little more laid back. We don't sweat the small stuff as much, but you see Ichiro, he came over, he's proven he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look what he's done. Hideki Nomo or Hideo Nomo, he did very well for the Dodgers. Matt, so a lot of these guys that have come over here have really proven, that they're legit and they can play here. It's like, we get over there, and I've heard horror stories. We go over there, and their strike zone is so pathetic. They don't want guys to break certain records, or they don't want guys to do as good and show their country up. But with their umpiring is different. But all umpires, they have their own. And I'm not a big fan of them. There's some umpires like, but there's a lot more that I don't like.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Is it
it's good
true,
you're honest about that.
Is it true that the ball is slightly smaller in Japan? And
I have no idea.
I just wonder if that could like affect his grip on like his splitter.
I'm sure
or
it
something.
could. That's a good point.
Well, it just depends on how big their hands are. I mean, you look at some of the guys that played there, the J.R. Richards, Lee Smith, guys like that who had big hands, so it made the ball look small. And,
right.
But to me, it's like, I don't know. Hugh Darvish, he didn't have one problem at all, and that guy can pitch.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Texas is happy to have him, and I'm sure the fans are there. But you know what? It's just to know if you know how to pitch and you have a good idea. I don't care what league you're in, you're going to get these guys out. Nobody's above anybody else. There's some great hitters, and we've got a lot of Hall of Famers, that we could say that were great hitters. But you know what? They also make outs too. So if you know how to pitch and be smart about it, good pitching stops good hitting, and vice versa.
That's always been the case. We'll see what happens. Changing gears a little bit, the whole A-Rod situation. He sues the union. That inspires some players' quotes. I know you told us that you had an experience where he wouldn't sign something for you, which is astonishing. And listen to a couple of players' quotes after he sues the union. When he gets up to bat, you can hit him and hit him hard. One player on the conference call told Yahoo Sports, "That's what I do." He sued us. Johnny Peralta and Nelson Cruz sued up. Johnny Peralta and Nelson Cruz screwed up. You know what? They owned up to it. They took their medicine. Rodriguez needs to be scared of coming back and facing people he sued. If he can't fear the wrath of getting kicked out or not being included, he's going to be forced out. It's beyond disappointment. Harsh words. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Here's a guy who's got probably the worst representation, and
that's what I say.
So much thing. Yeah, because the thing is, he thinks he's above. If he thinks he's above the rest, he's far from it, because he already admitted to using it with Texas for those 3 years or whatever it was. He said he never used it when he was with the Yankees. Okay, but his name is behind everything. I watched his 60 Minutes, and it really changed, my sights. And A-Rod, I mean, he puts himself in situations that, he's in denial, and he's never going to go to the Hall of Fame because he already admitted for 3 years. So that's 3 years of, I don't know if he won 2 or 3 MVPs or whatever it was. I didn't pay any attention to those types of things, but he put up some pretty heavy numbers over there in Texas, and he got paid a lot of money for doing it, and he was cheating on top of that. So right then and there, he should have just said, "Forget it. If I'm going to take it, you know what? They're giving me this money. It's a lot of money, but don't deny doing it, especially when this guy came clean and they're trying to make him look to be the bad guy." It's like Jose Canseco. He had all these things to say about all these guys.
Right?
Did he once lie about it?
Well,
no, he didn't.
Yeah, you're right.
Everyone didn't believe him.
Yeah.
And now he looks like a genius. I mean, not genius, but...
No, I know what you're saying, yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? So why the hell would he do that? And here's the union that had his back the whole time. You don't turn your back on the union because you're pissed off and he didn't think that they had that. They always have your back. The union always has your back. I had a couple situations, with an umpire forging my name and all that and selling these balls.
Wow.
Really?
Their game used perfect. Yeah, Al Clark did that.
Wow.
And so Major League Baseball came as security, and I had a problem. I said, I want this guy out, because he ended up umpiring a few of my games afterwards, and it's just very awkward because if the guy's squeezing you or not. Well, I told Major League MLB, I said, you got to get in. They said there's more behind it than you guys. I said, I don't care what's behind it. I want him for what he did to me, but there was more with tax invasion and all that kind of stuff. So to me, it was one of those things. So I got pissed off at the union, but I never turned my back on them. I was pissed off at them for a while, but I still, no matter how mad I was, they always had my back, and that's what they did. And A-Rod's trying to sue them now. he's foolish.
Yeah, no, but
worse and worse every time he opens his mouth.
But you made a great point too. Who's his representation? If he wants to do that, you got to have people who are supposed to be smart around you, going, "Okay, you can't. We can't let you do that." Where is that? You know?
Right. You know, and just any fans and Michael Weiner did a great job, but he's kind of bad. Kind of, from what I understand, and I don't know if it's his words, but allegedly he kind of said he didn't do his job and all that stuff. And Michael did a great job when he took over for Donald Fuhrer. And and the thing is, these guys, we pay them to represent us.
Right.
So they're doing everything they can. They don't think they're above the rest and they're better than the players. They're there for us, and they're behind they got our backs, and they make sure that we stay out of trouble when we get in trouble, or they try to, at least do the right thing, give us the right representation. But when you get a guy who just has bad representation from different lawyers, got all the money in the world, he thinks he can buy his way out of these things, it's not good. And and I just think that it's just sad, because the guy he's a great player. He's done a lot in the game, but he's cheated the game. But still, he's done a lot for the game. But it's sad to see him go out this way, because it's just bad. And there's a lot of people that like him.
Yeah. Really?
Well, it seems like that list's getting shorter and shorter.
What's that?
That list is getting shorter and shorter every year, though.
There's no question.
Yeah.
There's no question it's getting shorter and shorter. But you know what? Like you said, fess up. Cruz did. All these guys that were named in this with biogenesis and all that kind of stuff, they took their beating. They took their suspension, and now they're back. Are these guys going to get in the Hall of Fame? Probably not. Now, if I was one of those guys that got caught, and I had numbers to go into the Hall of Fame, I could kiss those numbers goodbye. But if I go out there and do my job, I do it cleanly now, and I test, negative, and I'm still putting up numbers, I'm just, what? That's where you just try to make as much money as you can.
Right. Why not? It's America. You got to do it.
Listen, they're going to let you still play, you might as well. What the hell?
Yeah, and you're right. If you sue the players' union and you win any money, you're taking money out of the pockets technically, because they pay them of your fellow players. Doesn't make any sense. Switching to a lighter note, Greg Maddux going to go in and said he's not going to have any logo because he loved the Cubs as much as the Braves. Where do you put Greg Maddux all-time list pitchers-wise? I mean, what kind of respect do you have for that guy?
He put him on the top. I think there was, and I think it was a one writer that didn't give him the vote because they say first-time ballot or something like that. That dude ought to have his credentials taken away.
It makes no sense.
And never let this guy vote again. What a tool.
If someone didn't vote for Hank Aaron back in the day, there's always got to be some jerk-off.
I don't know who it was, but I'd like to know who it was, because this guy is a complete tool.
Yeah, idiot. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
And he could have had the highest, he could have beat Tom Seaver out, which is probably legit, because Greg Maddux, he didn't throw hard. He just was the master. He knew how to pitch, and he knew how to field.
Right.
There's so many different variables about Greg Maddux that, that makes his credentials even more impressive, because he wouldn't, he wouldn't burn the bat out of your hand. I mean, he just knew he was a professor. And to me, he's probably one of the best pitchers of all time. I guarantee he's probably in the top 5.
That's impressive. Wow. For someone coming from someone like you, that's impressive. He's got to be happy with that. The Super Bowl. Are you a guy who likes going to the bowl, David? Do you like coming in and watching the game, or
I went for like 10 years in a row.
Uh-huh.
I had a friend of mine that worked in the NFL, and so she would always dial me in with 4 seats, 50-yard line,
wow,
for 10 years straight, all the parties, everything.
Fun.
And then my wife wanted to start going. I'm like, no, it's a nice trip. Well, I'm going with or without, whether you like it or not.
Oh, God.
Or not. And so I put you on the spot. So and then my buddies got pissed, and so I took her to a couple, and then I quit going.
That's hilarious. It's like an episode. It's like an episode of The Honeymooners. You're not going.
They always want to tax your gig when you're having fun.
It is just like the honeymooners. You're not going fishing.
Exactly. But no, I enjoy the events. Like I said, I've been to a bunch of them. The parties are great. You meet people. Not only the players, but you meet, business people and all that. And it's a lot of fun to be those. And I tell you what, it's going to be great in New York. It's going to be cold as hell, but you know what? It's those things. And if you've never been to one and you're going to go to one, what better place to do it? And because you're not even going to be cold. If you're sitting in the stands, you're gonna have fun because just the energy. You're not going to be cold.
I was going to say, well, I guess you just answered, but what your thoughts were on having it in New York? Cold
you have a
weather
prediction
city.
for the game?
And what about prediction? Yeah.
Well, I mean, Seattle, keep it on the left coast.
Yeah. Okay.
Denver has been a nemesis of mine for many years. Even when we're back in Dan Fouts days when the Chargers. We always played Denver. And,
that's right.
And just
those were shootouts, man.
Tailgates that we've been to. There's always fights going on, so we always hated Denver. But they got a pretty impressive quarterback, and Wesley. Well, I like Wesley. He's this guy's a complete game. He reminds me of his Wayne Corbett.
Yeah,
well,
Wayne Corbett was one that had the biggest set of cojones.
Yeah.
In the NFL.
That's a good point.
He wasn't a big guy, but you know what? He went across the middle. He took the hits, and he'll always be one of my favorite wide receivers. But that's what Welker is. He's one of those guys he's crazy, man. He goes across, so he's going to be tough to beat. But I think Seattle's going to take him.
Wow.
Interesting. Well, I mean, what you just said, it's football's version of it. Good pitching beats good hitting, and, you're going to go with the defense in the NFL. That's usually what they're doing. Your Seahawks on the left coast, they got the defense,
Yeah, but now they got a little controversial stuff because I don't know who that guy was after the
Richard
last
Sherman.
game.
Yeah, Richard Sherman, yeah.
Yeah, and he says the thug, he thinks the thug is the new N-word.
Yeah.
Or something like that. What are you talking about that? I started laughing. I think that's so funny. I think it's so funny. I mean, what is wrong with people out there? Yeah. Shut up and play the game. Who gives a crap what people call you?
Well, yeah, the media, you're right. It shouldn't affect you if you're that great. And he's a great player, smart guy. Yeah. But, listen, it seems like he's over it, and he's going to play well. And you're right. But the media, the media latches onto it. It's crazy, Well,
I don't know. All the people, there might be a lot of signs saying you're a thug.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's inviting that now, but
the N-word, man, what the hell? No, but dude, man, get over it. It's just a word.
I think he's gonna play through it.
Well, I hope so. I mean, because Seattle's pretty impressive, and you know what? It would be great for Seattle. I think that's a great city. It's one of my favorite cities.
Right.
When I play baseball, I love Seattle, but you know what? It's they haven't done anything in.
Long time.
Ever?
No, they never won. Never won a Super Bowl or a World Series, so they're going for it. Well, or an NBA title. Or an NBA title. Yeah, it's true.
Well, Sean Kemp had too many kids, so he got wore out, man.
Supersonics might have won.
Sonics won one.
They did win in the 70s.
I think so, yeah.
In the 70s. We don't count that. Pre-Bird and Magic, we don't count.
It's crazy, though. But no, it would be good for Seattle. I'm pulling for him. I like Manning, like I said, but you know what? I think I want to see Seattle win it. I think they're gonna.
Dave, listen, we appreciate you coming on. You're always great. Please come back soon. We'll talk as spring training gets here, and if you're ever in town, man, you got to stop by.
Well, I tried one time. Remember that?
I know. I'm sorry.
Hey, you know what? I was watching. I don't know. It was probably about a month or so ago, and I was watching TV, and you were. They had. Because late night and they show your show at night.
Right.
I guess and my boy Kelly James was on your show.
Yeah.
And this dude he's a very talented singer and all that, but dude, you got to give him better praise than that, man. I was ready to call you. I wish I had your cell phone.
You should have called any.
I'm effing you, man.
Call any time and get into it. You got to set me straight.
Oh, Kelly James, man, I've seen this guy perform so many times, and I don't know, your listeners out there, man, they got to follow this dude. He is an incredible entertainer.
Well, with your
lives like crazy. It's unbelievable what he can do.
With your recommendation, I'm into it. So, all right. Well, come back.
Well, you interviewed him.
I know. Well, listen, I've been eating a lot of cholesterol lately, and
You don't even remember who he is.
He was amazing. No, remember he was he was freestyling, making up
right.
stuff.
That's right.
He's really
Artie
talented.
You don't remember crap, dude.
I do too. Kelly James. Kelly James is one of the best chick guitarists we've had on in a long time.
He made a song about me. He was awesome.
No, he was funny. He made up a song about our buddy Bichetti on the spot.
Yeah.
I met the dude in Palm Springs. He didn't even know who I was.
Really?
My buddy from Oakley, Ryan Everett, he's one of the Oakley reps there, and he introduced me to him. He says, "Hey, what's your name?" I'm like, "Dave," and he goes, and he just went in, and he was telling me from like Ocean Beach. He started dropping Ocean Beach where I grew up, and I'm like, "Who the hell is this guy? Is he a psychic?" And this is 8:00 in the morning, and he's throwing all this crap out there, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's genius, man! He can do it. He could do it all." But I've seen him so many times, and it never gets tired.
That is fun.
Very talented.
The improv stuff was fun. Well, please come and join us live whenever you can, buddy.
I can't wait, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun night.
Thank you for the book. I'm going to start reading. I'm going to read it when I go to spring training. I'm going to start the book there, and then I'm going to test you on your book, man.
Okay, check it out, man. I'm curious to see what you think.
No, I ran into somebody. You wrote in a couple of them, right?
That's my second book, second bestseller.
Yeah. And I met this dude down in Florida. I just did the fantasy camp for the women, and I ran into a guy, and he says, "Have you ever read Artie Lange's book?" And I'm like, "No." He sent it to me. He goes, "Dude, they're incredible. The first one," he goes, "he couldn't put it down. He couldn't wait for your second one," and he read it, and so I can't wait to read it.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate the endorsement, and let me know. Call when you're finished. I'm curious to see what you think.
You got it, buddy.
Thanks. The great David Wells, and we'll talk to him again down the road. Thanks, Dave.
You got it. See you guys.
Okay, thanks. Dave, and we'll take a break. Come back with Jason Kerr after this.
The Artie Lange Show, weeknights on Audience, only on DirecTV.